ship them to your residences. And then everyone's saying this isn't okay, there's something wrong with the plane because otherwise they would just take off certain bags, they wouldn't take off all the bags. Like that's a lot of weight. Like that's why you weigh things to make sure that it fits. And then one guy's like, no, it's not the same plane. I don't think it's the same plane. And we're like, no. Everyone's like, no, it's the same plane. So we asked, and they're like, yeah, it's the same plane. We're like, oh, well, did you fix the part? They're like, no, we haven't fixed the part. They're like, there was a scratch in the wing, but they had to take off that part. They couldn't fix it. And we're like, there's a scratch in the wing? Like, what? And then the lady comes out from Dutch Airlines. She's like, okay, I'll explain it to you.
You describe the lady.
Oh, she was like European to the core. Like she had short, like blonde hair, like ice blonde, like gel, and this thick blue eyeliner. Like so funny. She comes out. She's like, no, it wasn't the wing. She's like, it was the flap. She's like, there was a flap. And one of the flaps was damaged, so we had to take off the flap. She's like, but it's not serious. Like, you don't need the flap to fly. She's like, the flap just helps with the speed, so now we need to use more fuel. So now we use more fuel, we take off the bags. See, it's very simple. And then people are looking, and they're like, this is the same flight. And we're like, and then one girl's like, what if we don't want to get on this plane? And I'm thinking like, yeah, like, I don't want to get on. It's the same broken plane. You haven't fixed that. What if they're like, but it came from Khartoum. It's totally fine. We're like, that was a 2-hour flight. This is an 8-hour flight. Like, what if it's not? And they're like, no, it's 100% safe. We're like, if it's 100% safe, why can't we take
our bags?
the bags? And they're like, no, that's just a safety precaution. And the lady draws me this like diagram. She's like, usually you have like this margin of safety. You have like 506% safety margin. Right now we're in this safety margin, and draws this like little circle in the middle. Like right now we're here. So she's like, but KLM is 100% safe. That's their rule. They won't fly unless it's 100% safe. And then some people are like, I think we're gonna stay. Like, she's like, well, if you want to choose to stay, people who want to go on the plane now at the bags go on this side of the room. People who want to stay and not go on this flight go on this side of the room, because if you guys don't want to come, we'll just put more bags on. So now they're dividing us, they're giving us an option if we want to stay or if we want to go. But if we want to, we're like, well, if we choose to stay, what's the next flight we can take? There's Ethiopian Airlines leaving at 2, and she's like, we won't pay for you to go on Ethiopian Airlines. We can't tell you your options for other flights, but once this flight takes off, then we'll tell you your other options. So we're kind of stranded here, like we don't want to get on the broken flight, but you won't tell us if you can put us on the next flight, and people, they're like, maybe there's one leaving tomorrow, but we're not sure. Like, so we have to stay here another night, or get on a plane. And they're like, no, but it's totally safe. They're like, it's not an issue. And the lady comes out, she's like, I have family too, like, I promise you, it's 100% safe. And so people start boarding, and I'm sitting back in the chair, and like, there's this Tennessee couple who are like adopting a baby. I like met them the next day, and they're like, I'm like, are you guys going? And they're like, he's like, I mean, if I was single, but I have 3 kids at home. Not to weird you out, but I have kids that depend on me. I'm not getting on that flight. And so then I go for this other guy, this like European couple, and we're talking to her, and she's like, no, I promise you, it's just the flap. The flap is not necessary. And she's like, because of the accident yesterday, she's like, well, not an accident, it was a bump, but now because the broken part has been removed, so we don't need it, we have to fly slower, but now, we're flying like this. And we're like, what? She's like, yeah, we have to fly on a tilt because of the flap. And we're like, what? He's like, so you're saying we're going to fly 8 hours like this? He's like, yes. And he's like, that's not normal to fly 8 hours like this. That's not normal. If you're telling me it's 100% safe, flying like this for 8 hours is not 100% safe. And we're like, the accident yesterday, I guess, like, it hit another plane. That damaged it. I'm like, so is this the same captain that hit the other plane? Like, and so then you see these other people getting on, and then my friend in the beginning, he was like, this is not normal, it's not safe, and he comes up to me, he's like, Amy, I'm gonna get on the plane. I think it's okay. He's like, it's safe. He's like, it's just a flap, it's not a major part. And he's the one who told me that there was a motor that blew up. He's like, this is classified information, I talked to a guy. Now he's like, it's not an important part. He's like, I've been on planes in Africa my whole life. I've been on planes missing doors. I've been on planes much worse than this. It's just a flap. I'm gonna get on the plane. So I'm just like, and the other lady's like, do you want the captain to come out? And I'm just like, I just don't want to get on this plane. I'm thinking like, I really don't want to stay here another night, but I really don't want to die. I really want to see my family tomorrow. Like, and so I'm like one of the people that's like, no. And there's like 30 of us, maybe. Then it was like 10 of us that were like, we're not getting on this plane. And then they have the captain come out, and he explains, okay, it was a winglet, and it's this winglet that's on one of the wings, and he's like, it's for aerodynamic purposes only. And the lady's like, aren't aerodynamics important for a plane? it's flying. And he's like, what it does is it helps you conserve fuel, so you can use less fuel. And he's like, to give you an idea, it's like 1% of the fuel. So now that we are like wasting more fuel, we are taking the bags off. So just for his precautions only, everyone's like, we're gonna have to fly slower now, so we have to use more fuel.